Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Unboxing the Vinyl. I'm your host, Tim Bianconi. If you could go ahead, like, share, and comment on this video. Also, subscribe to my channel below. That would be greatly appreciated. So I'm about 2 weeks late on this. Part 1 of Record Store Day for 2021 was a couple of weeks ago on June 12th. And I'm not a big fan of standing outside record stores at 8 o'clock in the morning, waiting to get in 3 or 4 at a time, only to have your hopes dashed for like the 1 or 2 things that I was interested in. But when I looked at the list for part 1 of Record Store Day, one thing caught my eye, and it was an album by a somewhat underground band, I would say, from the grunge era, and that would be a band called Gruntruck. So the band Gruntruck was formed in 1989 in Seattle, and it was made up of guys that used to be in some legendary acts such as Skin Yard, The Accused, and Final Warning. Now, I'll admit, until this Record Store Day release came out, it had been a long time since I'd really even thought about Gruntruck. I did have the CDs, and I think I have it on digital on iTunes, but I will admit it had been a long time since I had listened to this band. But when I saw they had a Record Store Day release, I was pretty interested. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like I said, they are part of the grunge movement. Let me try to, to kind of to kind of figure out their place. Let's think in terms of the big four. That's Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains. And then there would be like a secondary big four with like Screaming Trees and Mudhoney and so forth. And then you would have like your third level, big four or something like that. And Gruntruck would probably be somewhere in there. And that's not a diss. It's just, as much as it's about talent, it seems to be a lot about luck and being in the right place at the right time. And maybe, just for whatever reason, as great as they were, they just didn't take off. But they released their first album called Inside Yours in 1990. And then in 1992, they released their second album, which is the one we're going to look at today. And it is an album called Push. And I'm just going to put this right there for a moment. It's still in shrink wrap. It still has the Record Store Day sticker on it, which is pretty cool. This album was produced by Gary King and a guy named Jack Endino. So some of you music aficionados might know the name Jack Endino. He produced Nirvana's Bleach. He's also produced albums for metal bands like Skeleton Witch and a myriad of other bands. Like I think he even produced some Soundgarden stuff too, if I'm not mistaken. Back in '92. When I was like everybody else, I wanted to soak up and get everything, grunge related. I remember seeing this band on MTV, on Headbanger's Ball. And I saw the video, and I want to say it had to be for the song Tribe. It was either Tribe or Crazy Love. I'm not really sure. But I remember seeing one of those videos on MTV, and I thought it was really cool. And at the time, I was like, oh, cool, another freaking Seattle grunge band I can get into. So I went out. I snapped up the first album as well as this one. I really, really loved this album at the time. And like I said, once grunge kind of ran its course, there are some things that stuck with me. Obviously, the big four that I mentioned earlier and a few other things. But some of the stuff made it fall into the wayside for a bit. And maybe it's just because I didn't hear it as much as you do everything else. But again, I remember this being a great album. And even before, I bought this earlier today, I had gone back and listened to the CD or the digital tracks or whatever to refamiliarize myself with this band. And it's one of those things like I listened to it again and I realized why I liked them so much in the first place. So let's take a look. So here's the front cover of Gruntruck's Push. Here is the back cover, and again, this is the Record Store edition. And the Record Store edition has, let's see, this song is Push. It looks like it's a deluxe edition with 2 extra tracks. So I'm not familiar with those tracks, and like I said, I will admit that I've been out of touch with this band and this album for a long time, and a lot of the information I'm giving you right now is just stuff I found on Wikipedia. So take that for what it is. So let's take a look anyway. So this was originally priced at $45 at the store I bought it from, but I ended up buying it for $30 because I was really surprised it was still there. But at the same time, I was really surprised they had a Record Store Day thing coming out because I didn't know anybody else, at least in my circles, that was into this band like I was. So anyway, and again, none of this is meant as a diss to these guys. It's just the way things were back then. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a long way from Seattle, and we're not known to be like, really trendy or hip with anything here. So anyway, so here's the front truck. Here's the front cover of Gruntruck's Push, again, without the shrink wrap. Back cover. So let's take a look at this, because we're gonna open this together, because I'm not aware of anything going on inside of here. So so if we open it up, it just looks like a live shot of the band. That's pretty cool. And it looks like on one side you have the members of the band, or at least the names of the members of the band, and then on this side over here, various things about the album: management, engineering, production, so on and so forth. So yeah, pretty cool, And if I'm not mistaken, let's see what the sticker says before we even pull the record out. It says 2LP clear opaque red and yellow swirl. So that sounds very exciting and very fancy. So let's take a look. That's what I wanted. Okay, anyway. All right, so let's pull out the first sleeve, and let me just double check and make sure there's nothing else in there. No, we're good. All right. So we've got, on this sleeve, we've got a lot of different pictures, a collage, if you will, a black and white collage. Looks like just maybe some promo pics, as well as some live pics. Maybe some sort of handwritten, like, Grunt Club, which I guess was their fan club. Maybe some kind of handwritten letter or something to them. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Take a look there. And then if we flip it over, it looks like just another picture of the band with their special thanks and everything right there in the middle. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at this record. Let's see this red and yellow swirl. Opaque yet yellow and red swirl. Fancy. All right, anyway. So that is pretty cool. I'm hoping that comes through well on the video. We'll check it out later. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely opaque with red and yellow, just like advertised. Kind of looks like somebody spilled a bunch of ketchup and mustard in here and kind of smeared it around. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what they can do with these days. So that's one record. I'm sure the other one looks the same, but we'll take a look at it and see if maybe the sleeve has some different stuff on it. I'm also curious to see if there is a download card, and there is not. All right. So yeah, some different pictures and what looks like maybe some concert advertisements. Like I can see one here where it looks like they were the special guest for Alice in Chains. And then just some other stuff. It looks like maybe some write-ups about the band on the other side. Yeah, so really, really cool. And even some comments from Sean Kinney of Alice in Chains and people from their record label, which at the time was Roadrunner. I'm not entirely sure who is responsible for. Oh, well, let's take a look at this record too. Probably one of the same. Oh, yeah, there it is. Red and yellow swirl. This looks like it was released by Real Gone Music, which may be the back catalog distributor or whatever, or reissue of Roadrunner records, because Roadrunner is still listed on here too. So yeah, but it looks like the label that's responsible for the reissue is Real Gone Music. So all right, so that was really cool. Yeah, so let's talk about the album for a minute. Like I said, it was produced by Jack Endino, who also produced Nirvana's Bleach, as well as Skeleton Witch and some other people. There were 3 singles released from the album. There was Tribe, Crazy Love, and what's the other one? Above Me. But I will say the song that I dig the most is a song called Machine Action. It's the second song on the album, and it starts with just like this little acoustic intro, and then just this really cool like electric guitar riff just kind of fades in, and then it really goes into just a really cool riff and a really cool song. And Crazy Love, which was one of the singles, which I think was also featured on Beavis and Butthead at one point, it has a very Helmet feel to it. They were a little more on the metal side of the grunge thing, maybe more in line with like Alice in Chains more so than like, Nirvana or Pearl Jam. And like I said, Crazy Love to me, like I was just listening to it a little while ago and I was like, man, this really, really sounds a lot like Helmet. Maybe not quite as tight and punchy as Helmet, but just still had that same kind of sound. Ben McMillan singing, and the music and everything just had a very Helmet-like vibe to it, So, another cool song. But like I said, Machine Action to me is where it's at. I don't remember, and like I said, unfortunately, I haven't, gone back and listened to the whole album yet. So I can't give you any information on how this sounds because I just pulled the shrink wrap off of it. And, you know, I don't remember everything about the record, but I do remember 4 or 5 songs that I just thought were really cool. And like I said, Machine Action, which is the second track, is just, you know, above and beyond my favorite track on the record. So this looks like I said, it looks like this is a deluxe edition that has a couple of extra tunes, Crucifunkin and Fresh Fever at the end of side D. And, you know, I'm not familiar with those tunes. I mean, hell, I just got done saying, you know, I'm not as familiar with this album as I used to be. But still, there are the original 12 tracks from the album as well as 2 extras. Again, great band, you know, if you're into the grunge thing, but you get a little, your life is a little bit oversaturated with the Pearl Jams and the Nirvanas and the Soundgardens and all that of the world. Check out some of the other bands. You know, there's like Screaming Trees and Mudhoney and the Melvins and, you know, and a band like Gruntruck. You know, a band that really, you know, maybe didn't make it at the time, but just because they didn't make it big doesn't mean their music wasn't great. So I'm excited to listen to this. I'm excited to reintroduce myself to this band. You know, maybe even go back and listen to their first record. As far as I know, they only made 1 other EP and then 1 other album. The third album took a long time to come out. And in that time, the original lead singer, Ben McMillan, passed away, I think, in 2008. And the album, which was done before then, didn't actually come out until 2017. And I'll be honest, I'm not familiar with that. But that's just what I found on Wikipedia. So, you know, R.I.P. Ben McMillan. But yeah, check them out. You know, here's another great band from the grunge era, you know, that you may not have heard of, that, you know, you might listen to and totally dig, you know, and that's what music's all about. So that's all I've got for this time, for this episode. Like I said, like, comment, and share this video. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I do have some other stuff out there. I have the rest of my unboxing, my Unboxing the Vinyl series. I've also got my Inside the Vinyl series where I cover things like Lost Classics and most recently covering live albums. I've also got some concert footage from some festivals, Exit 111, Welcome to Rockville, coverage from a Kiss concert, and some other things from back when we could still go to concerts. Hopefully, you know, we're getting back to that here soon. And if you like crappy disc golf videos, I've got a few of those you can check out as well. So check out that. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and we will see you next time. Peace out.